The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to the number one Contender podcast, the show where your favorite nerds sit down and talk all things movie trivia Schmoedown. Travis is not able to be on for this one because he was having some he had a dentist appointment today, and he didn't have the gas in the tank to be on, unfortunately, which is very, very, very sad. However, he is here in spirit, and I do have some questions for our guests that are directly from Travis. But speaking of our guest, we are honored to be joined by the former two-time teams champion and last year's Inner Geekdom tournament winner, the one and only, the Cobra, Chance Ellison. Hello there.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We were very happy to have you on. I will say I'm sure Travis isn't here just because he's a dungeon guy. I'm going to believe the dental issue thing and not blame it on his fealty to Trashmouth Kaiser. We don't hide our faction biases around here, and he's made the mistake of leaving me alone with somebody on corruption. So
that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, never. It's just going to be an echo chamber here. But yeah, no, we're super excited to have you on, and I feel like best place to start would be how did you get involved with the Schmoedown? How did things start out? Obviously, I think you're one of, if not like the OG fan league competitors.
I was the first. Yeah, I was the first one to break it in. Yeah, I mean, people at this point basically know how I got in. I was a fan of the show first and foremost. Watched it since its debut. Not since its debut. I watched it since the first team's tournament. I did fan leagues for a while. Christian noticed I was really good, and he decided to just take a shot on me, and the shot that ended up paying off to the point where he invited more fan leaguers in, and just more people who I came up playing, and more people who I came in after me, and it's been amazing right since then.
Yeah, and then that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, and I'm glad you clarified me on that, because I feel like some of the most exciting talent in the past couple years have been born of the fan leagues, and that's definitely a trail you blaze. I think an argument can even be made that like a lot of the hubbub around the Dragon Con players, that like that's also kind of an outgrowth of looking to the fan leagues. So regardless of belts and titles and records and stuff like that, I feel like you have a legacy and impact on the Schmoedown that goes just beyond gameplay and just kind of opening up the floodgates to more players and more people who are eligible to compete. Obviously you made a big splash in your first season up to this point, championship run. And I'm making a fool of myself because this is around when I started watching as well. And you and Mike began Corruption, the team, out of anarchy.
Yeah.
So what was it like getting like your first soiree into teams being in this moment of upheaval where you're getting all of these crazy mismatched units?
No, it was fun. It was the whole anarchy tournament was one of the more fun experiences of my career so far. It's because it was more of an even keel competition, just because sure you had your super teams, but like for the most part, everything that was established was gone. Like that was a massive thing at the time, and I'm just lucky that I got to be a part of it. I'm lucky that that's where I got to come and make my debut. I think that was a super fun time, and yeah, I think that like, and when it was pitched to me, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because like that's what something that Mike would do. It's like he would go and he would outsource to find competition. He would outsource to find the person no one's looking for to be his partner. So yeah, I thought the Anarchy Star was brilliant, and I'm super fortunate that I got to be part of it.
Yeah, and I think that in that moment, like I don't know, there's something, and don't get me wrong, because I think season 8 might be my favorite season so far. There's something just so, and maybe it was the first season I got super into everything. That season of Anarchy, of that massive Intergeekdom tournament, that it just really, it just felt so special. It was like the Schmoedown was on fire. It was just so, it was just such a unique season that I think really set the stage for a lot of things. But obviously, a lot has happened since then. You've become a staple in the Intergeekdom tournament, or in the Intergeekdom division up to this point. And I think a lot of that has to do with the big run you had last year during the tournament. What was that like? Because I know there was a lot of people, and it kind of comes with the corruption territory, that people were kind of counting you out. You had you had the roadblock of Robert Parker that season, that in that tournament, in that bracket, and a lot of people were going, "Oh yeah, well, chance is good, but he's going to hit this pothole, and it's going to all end right here." So what was that? Walk me through last year's IG tournament, because it was definitely one of the highlights of last season.
Yeah, so it for me last year, that was the thing where like I wanted to do it again, but I wanted to do it, and my original pitch to me was because Mike was the only player on our roster. It's like this is the time where we're still doing like in-person matches, like regular show tapings. She came to me just like, "Hey, how would you feel about taking some low-level matches in the Intergeekdom? I don't need you to be a belt contender or anything. I just need you to go in and just win a few." I'm like, "Yeah, okay," because I honestly think I could beat. I honestly thought at that point, without having worked at it, I could have beaten any like mid to low tier level IG player just on my own strength. Then COVID happened, and we have this tournament coming on, and I was really itching to compete. We found out we had 2 spots. We needed a second, so I'm like, okay, I'll do this. And it was funny because I remember watching Intergeekdom matches from that tournament. Like I was there when Parker recorded his first studio match, and I'm like, I can't answer any of these. This is not good. So I had to, like, that's something I had to get good at in order to, like, if I wanted to make a run in the tournament. And yeah, Parker, I've known Parker, known him for years, known him for a very long time, and I know how he takes geek play and how good he is at that particular division. So I'm like, okay, so let's just. I felt like I could beat him, but like above all, I also wanted to just keep it competitive. And yeah, when beating him, just like, oh damn, I could go to the finals. That's insane to me, and I can beat Mike there. So that. After being Parker, that really gave me like a kick in the pants. Just like, hey, let's go all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, not to blow smoke up your ass, man, but like hearing that is like somewhat of a surprise, like with how well you handled things and your proficiency in the division at this point. That like that's remarkable, and obviously the tournament finals ended up being I don't want to say master versus apprentice, because you're a trivia savant, independent of Mike, but I think there is like a little bit of like a lot of people look at you guys and have this like Batman and Robin type dynamic that I'd sooner say Nightwing and Robin. There's more of like a homeboy's all grown up at this point, doesn't need a mentor as much as a partner, but like that was one of the most entertaining matches I've ever seen. It was like watching a training session between you guys. And
yeah,
what was the anticipation like going into playing against your teammate?
Oh, it was as soon as I found out that Mike KO Damon, we were all smiles, we were happy, and like the conversation really turned to like, what should we do for the match itself. Because, we saw, Dan and Bateman trying to rip his head off. So we're just like, what if we did the opposite? Like, and I think like, we thought, like, that'd be the perfect thing was, like, no, we're not going to go in. We're not going to, try and, like, murder each other. Like, we're going to completely, like, flip that. And it's going to be like the big old crushing vacation. And that's when the whole vacation theme started. We're just like, no, let's do it like this. Cause that'd be funny. And people would probably be really pissed off because it's like, great, this whole tournament now, I just get to watch these guys just, have a bout and have a few drinks for a couple hours. So
yeah. Turn it into like a happy hour trivia Zoom call.
No, we literally did. We turned it into a big old corruption, smile fest, and that was something where it's like, no, that makes a lot of sense because, yeah, I mean, not only is this like, combination of all the work we put in for the past like couple weeks, it's this is our gloating. This is our victory lap. This is our time to gloat. So
yeah,
we decided like, yeah, no, let's do this. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be mean, and we're not gonna like diminish the game. We're not gonna take it easy, but yeah, like let's just have fun with it. Let's not even treat it like a real match.
I think that goes a long way with the psychological warfare that has become a popular tactic in the Schmoedown. Of the ability to just go like, oh yeah, here are us in this big tournament final. We're just chilling.
Yeah, we're just chilling. It doesn't matter. Like literally, it didn't matter who won. We got points and we're getting the title shots. It doesn't matter who wins.
It was points regardless, and
yeah,
I know I enjoyed the hell out of it. I make a point of trying to rep the corruption merch anytime there's a big match going on, and that evening, it was me, Travis, and Alexis. We were all hanging out. We were going to watch the match. And I was so upset because I could not find my corruption shirt. And I just put on one of my favorite Hawaiian shirts, not knowing the theme.
Nice.
And we arrive at Travis's house and we put it on. And I'm like, I dressed correctly either way. And I didn't even mean to. It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So last season comes and goes. And you had your big match up against Chandru. Obviously didn't go the way we wanted it to. So coming off of the defeat against Chandru into season 8, into wartime, what was the mentality coming into this new season of play?
I mean, coming off of winning the faction race, my immediate mentality was, okay, we gotta do this again. So. And losing Laura was a blow. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that sucked. I hated losing Laura. We tried literally everything to try and get her back. We've still been trying things, but yeah, it hasn't worked out in our favor yet. But like we brought back a good chunk of our original roster because like we believe in our team, and we believe that we have what it takes to do it again. And when it came to this season. My focus this season, much like last season, even though I barely had to play singles at all last season, I really wanted to make a splash in singles this year. That's the thing I've wanted. It's the thing I've wanted to do since I debuted, just because that's the one thing I haven't done. Like I like Intergatum, yeah, it's cool and it's fun. I like doing it, but that's not my main thing. Like it's not like I'm like Mike or Chandru or Parker, where like that's like what I want to do. No, that's the thing I can do and do well. But like the thing I want to do is singles, teams, that kind of stuff. That's where that's where I feel like I can make my name. That's where I've made my name in the past. So coming in, singles the priority. Teams up in the air at the beginning of the year. We didn't know what was happening with us, but as soon as we found out, we got a clear picture. Like, okay, we can do that. And yeah, I think that priority for us was just. Coming in and proving last season wasn't a fluke, trying to repeat.
Yeah, and I think it goes a long way as a player to kind of make that declaration that IG isn't a focus for lack of a better word for you, but you're still rather deadly in it. I think that speaks volumes to your capacity as a player there. So singles being the big division that you're trying to break into this season? Is there? I mean, obviously you have some play coming up very soon. I'm going to make sure I have this right. Pulling up my match list. Yeah, Lon Harris. That's a very notable player to be jumping into against singles.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I am at this point. Like, I know I'm not like ranked that statistically in the top 5 players, so I'm just gonna get hammered with these matches like that. So, and it's just how you gotta play the game. But that being said, like, I'm not scared of Lon Harris. I think that, like, the dude's good, but I feel like I can beat him no matter what. And there's someone that I'm very confident, and I'm not gonna be deterred this year when it comes to singles.
Yeah, and you said it right there, and that was something I was going to get at, is that as somebody who is definitely a part of the leadership of corruption as a faction, as one of corruption's elder statesmen, as it were, is there a see, this is the thing. I always want to ask, like, really, like, questions that fascinate me that I'm like, I can't ask this person to give away their training strategy. That's not fair. But what does the communal training process, like, when you're helping to, like, for lack of a better term, like, level up some of the younger players, be it their rookie or sophomore seasons, how does that impact your play at the higher end? And like, how much of, like, a trickle down from, you and Mike, who are, for all intents and purposes, the, heaviest hitters of corruption in terms of, like, both longevity and established play, and the trickle down there into helping bring up the younger bucks?
I think something we do well is that we know where our focus is each week. Like, if a player has a match coming up, like, they are priority when we study with them. And I think that, like, the hive mind aspect of this helps, because you have people who have, like, you have a team full of different people with different backgrounds who have different base of knowledge, and then when you get that together, like, you end up picking up a lot of stuff. Like, I think, like, I end up learning a lot just helping my teammates study. Like, when I'm, researching, like, like, when I'm researching, like, opponents, when I'm researching new strengths, researching new weaknesses, I do think that it ends up helping me. Like, it ends up helping the player, ends up helping myself, ends up helping the faction in general. And I think that I like that team aspect of it. I think that it's something unique. It's something the game hasn't had before. And I think that when it comes to, like, this new era, which is all, like, we're basically become a team sport, I think that you have to keep in mind, you have to focus up, you have to know, like, where who needs the attention at this point, and you gotta be ready and willing to. You gotta be a team player at this point. You gotta be ready and willing to just cede the floor to whoever's next man up.
Yeah, and
Did I freeze? Are we live right now? I'm curious.
sorry about that. Voice meter strikes again. We'll be able to cut that little bit out.
Okay,
one of the
I didn't know if we were live or not. So you need a vamp for time or what?
Yeah, no, you're good. No,
Okay.
there's one of the computer programs we use, because The guy who does a lot of the production side of things. A lot of the joke I always make is that he kind of like duct taped 3 different computer programs together to make it work with our setup. Okay. And one of them has this weird like timer on it where every so many hours it will like decide to go, hey, have you considered donating to the whatever that helps this computer program run? And then it just freezes everything for like 30 seconds. So my apologies on that one.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Jumping back in here, make a note of the time. Okay. But I think that a lot of the factions let's say brag as though that has a negative connotation to it, but a lot of factions brag about like the communal spirit that they all have. But I feel like to a certain degree there's a corruption last season felt like the most outwardly demonstrating the communal nature of the training. And, obviously I have no insight otherwise. And I feel like swag is probably a close second as in terms of like, making a point of being, look how well we all get along together and we all work together and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Winston's also funny as hell in interviews. But
that is true.
Yeah. It's easy to seem like everybody's buddy when you're doing stand-up in between rounds. And I mean that sincerely. But do you feel like there's been any emulation by the other factions coming into this season after watching how well corruption like melds together into being this really well-oiled machine?
I do actually, just because I remember hearing things just from other players from other factions. Not gonna name any names, but I remember hearing things from other players just how their faction runs. Like, yeah, I don't talk to my faction mates. I better talk to my manager. I don't talk to my faction mates. It doesn't work like we don't work like that. And then like they saw how well we did. And it was like, and it seemed like everyone just like, oh, maybe there's something to that. So I feel like we kind of instituted the model for how factions should run nowadays. And imitation is the best form of flattery, so we'll take it.
Hey, I couldn't agree more. I was just about to say the same thing, and I don't know, and I got that vibe. And again, very biased. So of course I'm going to go, oh hey, they're biting corruption's bit. But no, there's very clearly been you guys kind of set the standard by being the first winners of the faction race. Of the faction war, battle, whatever you want to call it. And, it's almost to be expected, but no one's ever going to admit it. I want to talk about teams because there have been some big moves happening in the past couple weeks. Namely a very, very exciting match I was very happy watching. Walk me through you guys going up against Danger Zone. There was a lot of hype going into that. Obviously, there's a rivalry on some level with the Outlaw. So, were there any teams you were more awaiting than the other ones, or hoping for over the others, or is it just like bring me Danger Zone or bring me whomever because it's go time and we're going to be hitting the ground running no matter what?
I mean, I was ready to take it to anybody who came out of that tournament. I'm gonna be honest, but. Except Deception. We would have got the same. We would have got the same thing Mike and I did last year, on a bigger scale. I wish that would have happened. It would have been hilarious. But I was ready to take it to anybody. I wanted Danger Zone because I've watched them play. I'm just like, okay, people like this is it. This is what people are saying I should be scared of. No, fine, whatever. Mike wanted Rushmore. Mike really wanted Rushmore. And I'm just like, that's not as fun for me. Like I find beating the process of beating Dan and Ben way more fun than beating John and JT. But we got Danger Zone, and look, I mean they're both quality players. I'm not going to dispute that. But there was something in me that week of just like it's weird. Like I kept like getting signs. I'm like, we're gonna win this match. I feel like we're gonna win it. I don't know why. I feel like we're gonna win it pretty handedly.
Yeah, those visions and inklings turned out to be very true. But yeah, no, I was I remember going into it. It was the week going into Danger Zone versus Corruption. We had Frank Janish on, and I was talking with him, and I was saying that like uh, I did not see Danger Zone being able to beat Rushmore. I felt like Rushmore had a stronger sense of synergy between them, and I completely counted out Danger Zone and was ate crow very handedly when that happened and admitted such. But I feel like, in your opinion, as the player is the one who's being speculated on more often than not, do you think that the kind of constant, continuous uh, underrating and under speculating corruption has kind of run its course? Because it felt like coming off of that big win that like there was like this final admission of, okay, I guess they're great. Because this was yet another instance where the polls and the way the match shook out ended up being two very different outcomes by the numbers, at least. When you look at the how much of a margin the Danger Zone had taken away those polls. Do you think there's been like an official acceptance of corruption as one of the elite teams? I don't understand how you guys still get counted out after two championships, but
we should be in the top 3 teams of all time, like
without a doubt.
Top 3 to 4 teams of all time. We should be there. But yeah, no, I don't think the counting us out will ever. I don't think it's ever going to stop, honestly, just because I feel like that's the narrative that's been pushed for several years. And look, I'm not going to say like we're a perfect team. Like Mike and I have collapsed pretty bad in some matches. Like I'll be the first to admit it. We've collapsed pretty hard in some high pressure situations. But that doesn't change the fact we still won 2 titles. We beat some really high quality teams, some really great teams on paper, and not to mention, like, we haven't lost a 3-round match in almost 3 years. Like that
is an excellent point.
Our last 2 losses were both in 5-rounders. Every other, except for the Who's the Boss match, we've won every single 3-round match we've ever played.
I'm not. I'm not like the stats guy. That's not something that's I'm not very good at like recalling stats like that. But now having that brought up, like, holy shit, you're right. That's the one 3-rounder. Hot damn.
Yeah, it's the one 3-round we've ever lost.
That, again, that's a record that speaks for itself. And you guys are Travis and I had this conversation last week, I believe, where you guys are the last of the pre-Skybound, pre-faction war teams.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are all that's left of, like, that Anarchy class, and that, hell, Mike and Mara are the only people left in the IG from, like, that class of Inner Geekdom player that, like, had the Cushings and,
Inman.
Yeah, Jason Inman, thank you. I had Inman, I didn't have Jason. But yeah, you've become a legacy player, and it's weird because, like, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but you're absolutely a legacy Rushmore player at this point. That, again, being a fan of corruption, there's also a part of me that, enjoys the undermining, because it's like, yeah, we know how it's going to end. But moving forward, you guys have Shazam on the horizon at the end of the month. What's the this is a rematch, this is a what's the preparation like? Are you guys like what's the mood in corruption right now, both the faction and the team hurtling towards this big match?
Yeah, I think that we learned a lot from the first Shazam match we had, in that if you fall too far behind, it's not looking well for you. But I think that we learned I think it's like Yoda said, failure is the greatest teacher. So we saw what we did against Shazam the first time. I took detailed notes on that first match we had. I took notes on their other matches. I can see the strategy, and I see like the keys to beat them. It's just a matter of implementing. I think that Mike and I I honestly don't think I've seen Mike wanting a belt back since the last one he won. Like he's determined to get the team belt back. He wants to be a 6-time champ, but I'm determined to get him there because I also want to be a even more multi-division champ. I want to be a 3-time champion as well. So, we're coming at this with a determination that we didn't have the first time I played Shazam, and you can bet that when we face Shazam again, we're gonna be ready this time, and it's not gonna be the same blowout you saw the first time.
Yeah, and I think that there's something. I know we've talked to, Travis and I talk a lot about circumstance going into a match. For example, whenever Mike played Alex Damon a month ago, that there was that, for Alex Damon, I don't envy him in that position between just having the big upset defeat against Dimolanta, having to manage, May the 4th and the Bad Batch and all of that rollout, and then to make the turn on a dime back into IG. That's a lot going on. So is there is the amount of times you're on the schedule for this month alone a hindrance, or is that helping you? Is that giving you kind of like boots on the ground training opportunity where you're like in the thick of it? This isn't just a training match. This is straight up combat, or is there how are you feeling about being heavily scheduled leading up to a title shot?
I feel like every match for me is a shared combat, and I know a lot of people beware of the burnout. This happened to Mike, happened to Cushing. I just don't. I don't catch burnout like that. For me, attrition just never sets in. I can and this is a tribute to how much I love this game. I can do this for hours. I can do this for days. I can do this for weeks, and it's just I'm never gonna get tired of it. So I do think that helps in that case. So. And it's always just a matter of knowing what's in front of you and not keeping focus. I'm always gonna like Parker last week. I was focused solely on Parker. Wasn't thinking about singles. Wasn't thinking about teams. I'm solely focused on Parker and solely focused on Shazam. Right now, I am solely focused on Lon. Not worried about Shazam. Not worried about anything else. Lon is the one thing I have in my sight right now. So I think that when you're a multi-division player, I think the important thing is, one, just making sure you're rested, especially when you have this match close together. Like Alex Damon, you said, I did not envy him at all, just because you lose the belt, you go into IG, and a week after you go right back into Star Wars, and it can be tough. It can be tough, but it's all about being mentally tough and being able to just budget your time and almost split your brain. It's okay, you gotta reprogram yourself on a moment's notice, and I think that's something I can do well. So you can give me as many matches you want in a month. I'm not worried about it.
It's definitely an admirable level of preparedness. I think there is. I struggle to think, aside from you and Mike, of anybody who is straddling 3 of the 4 divisions all at once. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody other than you guys who is, short of deciding you're going to try to play in Star Wars, which God help anybody. It says the guy who auditioned to play in Star Wars last season. The God help anybody trying to get into that mess. Yeah, I just sitting back watching. I'm like, hot damn, this. And it's become a competitive division. Finally, it's more than the novelty division that I think it kind of had a reputation for. So aside from teams and singles, I believe in your post-game interview coming off of the Parker match, do you still have any real hopes for Inner Geekdom? Is there a plan to flex your muscles there any longer, or are you going to be trying to transition more to singles and teams? As I know you said singles is kind of your main racket this season.
It is, and I mean, I'll still continue to play IG because I like that league. I think it's fun. Is my main focus? No, unless I do what I did again last year and just go really far in the tournament and get a title shot. I know we have the tournament coming later this year. I don't know if I'm gonna be a part of it. That's not something we've discussed with the faction yet because we don't know what our roster situation is gonna look like. With Mike's probably gonna retain the belt, so if he does, chances are I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back in the tournament. But yeah, no, Intergeekdom. That's not something I'm necessarily focused on right now, just because I have no match in the pipeline. So I can put that in my rearview mirror. I can focus on task gang, focus on teams and singles. But that's not to say I'm not willing or ready to go back into IG at a moment's notice. I'm ready. I'm always ready to go back into IG. It's just not something I can afford to focus on right now because I have nothing planned, nothing to look forward to.
I think you have a work ethic and outline that is probably the most efficient strategically. Travis and I have talked a lot about how the players who are one match at a time, my next target is the only target mentality is the one that typically ends up, bearing the most fruit in the long run. That said, completely going to spit in the face of that. Let's say you guys remove the belts from Bibbs and the Kid. Do you have any speculation on who might be coming up after you guys after that? Obviously, I think there's an assumption that you want it to be another Corruption Beach Party and it be Deception v Corruption.
That'd be the best possible case if we get another Corruption Beach Party.
I know I'm certainly hoping for that. There will be beach balls and hula skirts all over the studio to cover that one. But who do you think and who do you want to be the next people to come up? Do you have somebody in mind? Do you have an inkling of if we take the belt, here's who I think is coming back after us? Or
I feel like Rushmore's got to be close to a title shot, right? They're semifinals in the tournament. They got to be close. So I'm looking up for them. Final Exam probably could come back and do this. I'm not sure what the status of Jeff and Janine are, or what Jeff is doing, period, as teams, but I know he's never far behind. My policy with championships is you can celebrate it's all my policy with anyone. You can celebrate for a day, and then next day you're back to work. Because when you're a champion, you're a champion for a night. Next day you're a target. And that's something I try and be mindful of, especially with the teams, which has become a really competitive league now, especially seeing all the new teams that just got formed. So, whoever it is, bring it on.
I respect that mentality like hell, and I think that, again, I think it's part of the precedent that you have set compared to a lot of people around you, long-running careers that you stand shoulder to shoulder with. Wrapping things up here very soon, I would be remiss to not ask the big question Travis needed to ask you, and that was, what flavor are most of Mike's lollipops?
I'm assuming most of them are cherry. I see a lot of red, so I think cherry, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, Travis can rest easy. He needed some amount of speculation. He was saying cherry or strawberry. I said it's probably a left field one. It's red, but you wouldn't think of it. I'm guessing fruit punch. That's my headcanon that it is it's a fruit punch type deal. Chance, we are so honored and glad that you took the time to stop by Number One Contender. Please tell the lovely people where they can find you and all that you do.
Twitter Instagram Chance Wars _ new bunch. But check my podcast, Stories by Chance. We just dropped our review of Scream, which we have Popcorn Talks Carrie Lane to talk about with us. It's a really fun show. We also dropped a Match of the Universe commentary, another fun one if you like that movie. Go watch along. It's a good time. And next up, it's our Pride Month special, which we like during Pride Month every year. We take some time to talk a famous LGBT movie. Don't know what we're reviewing yet, but it's gonna be, regardless, it's gonna lead to a really good conversation. And yeah, that's about it. You can find me.
Can you drop the podcast name again? Because it got a little crackly whenever you said it the first time. I want to make sure everybody hears it.
Notorious by Chance.
Thank you very much, sir. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552 and the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Hanaus. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. Be sure to consider the $5 tier, where you get access to the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series, our Nerd Academy Movie Club audio commentaries, and Heroic History 101, where Travis and I will be covering Batman 3 Jokers this month, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to check out the student store link on our website, where you get access to our TeePublic, where you can get all manner of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. Again, Chance Ellison, the Cobra, we are honored that you have joined us. Go corruption and smash cancer.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!